Welcome to this presentation on editing for the EGU journal Ocean Science. I'm John Huthnance. I have been helped by the other executive editors and by Anna Wenzel from the publisher Copernicus. This presentation describes the steps in reviewing a submitted manuscript. After a manuscript is in the online system, there is a call to some editors whose declared interests best match the author's characterization of the manuscript. There may be following calls to more editors until one agrees to act. Failing that, after 2 to 3 weeks, an executive editor may ask you to act based on their judgment of editors' interests in relation to manuscript topic. Do please respond promptly to these system calls and not to author requests. When you receive an email call and enter the system in response, you will see a screen like this asking you to accept or decline acting as editor. Before accepting, you should consider possible competing interests. The screen has a link to the policy on this. If competing interests might affect your judgment in decisions on the manuscript, you should decline. Before accepting, declare any competing interests in the window. If you accept, an email will ask you to enter the system to make an initial decision should it go to referees for review. This is for your judgment. My criterion is it should not be an obvious waste of referees' time, so it should pass 5 tests. It is within the scope of ocean science. It has something new to say. It can be understood. It is not obviously wrong. It does not insult anyone. There is a similarity report. Usually, inevitably, a few % of the text has appeared elsewhere. If the overlap gets to 10 or 20% or more, you may need to judge if that is serious. Usually less serious if in the introduction or methods. More serious if in results and discussion or copied from other authors. The manuscript topic might be out of scope. Ocean Science might be the wrong journal. You can check the scope of Ocean Science via the OS web page About tab. You can reject a manuscript as out of scope. You can forward it to another EGU journal. Tick any relevant journal on the drop-down list. Sometimes the English is hard to understand. A manuscript can be copy-edited, but this costs money which non-English speakers may not have. In any case, a copy editor cannot be expected to decide what the authors want to say. You can reject a manuscript if it cannot be understood, or you can choose Start Review and Discussion after minor revisions. This means that you review it again after the author's revision. The option Start Review and Discussion after technical corrections is if you trust the author and don't want to see the manuscript again before peer review. This is a good option for authors to correct typos and such like. With either minor revision or technical corrections, say what you want in the comments to the author. That was a lot of words, but you should not do too much at this stage. You are not a referee, just the editor, avoiding waste of scarce referee effort. Try to avoid initial dialogue with authors on scientific matters. As editor, you want to stay neutral. Start Review and Discussion sends the manuscript to Ocean Science Discussions. So does Start Review and Discussion after technical corrections via the author. You will then be asked to check and perhaps supplement the author's choices of depth range, approach, geographical range, properties and processes, challenges. Should the paper be highlighted for its interest to a wider community? There is a link, EGU Newsworthy Research Guide, for help. Highlighting now is not a commitment. Action depends on successful peer review. Then Continue leads to a page for choosing referees. Authors' suggestions can help, but you should make your own judgment and suggestions. The system may have suggestions at Show Corresponding Referees. Try to avoid conflicts of interest. The system may not. Hover over numbers beside referees' names to see their reviewing history. That may help your choice. You are asked whether referees may submit reports after the deadline has expired. I normally say yes. Having nominated referees, refined nominations leads to another page. This asks you to enter which two or more should be asked immediately. More can be indicated as backups in order, step 1, step 2, etc. That helps if first choices decline. You can nominate more referees later. The open review discussion period follows, 8 weeks. Referee comments should go straight onto the system. Others may make short comments, but must identify themselves. You are alerted when comments are made. You should check that they are not insulting. If any comments or responses are insulting or suggest unethical behavior, please report it. Click the flag icon against the comment and tell the OS executive editors. At the end of the discussion period, the authors should respond on the system to all comments. The system asks and expects authors to submit a revised manuscript. Editor action is not necessary, but you may want to intervene before authors put all the effort into submitting a revision. In cases with strong adverse or conflicting comments, if the referees advise to reject, or if author responses suggest that they will not make necessary improvements, then you might suggest that authors go no further, or you might emphasize what they really need to do. If the referees were critical, but it could be a good paper, you might encourage the authors. In bad cases, you can remind authors that going no further means no cost and resubmission is a new start without the adverse comment. If authors do not respond well to comments, you can remind them that readers will be able to see whether comments have been responded to. When authors post a revised manuscript, you are asked to make a decision. Typically, this is the stage requiring most judgment using all the evidence. You should have the referee's opinions on scientific significance, science quality, presentation quality, and whether the manuscript should be accepted, revised, or rejected. These opinions should be supported by the referee's comments, but opinions may differ between referees. The authors should have responded to all referees and short comments. Check the interactive discussion. If the referees differ, authors' responses, your own knowledge and quality of referee comments can all help the decision. In the case shown, the favourable report was supported by very little comment, apart from saying that it was a good topic. The unfavourable report annotated the text, showed careful reading by the referee, but was about the presentation as much as the science. Reject was in relation to the present form rather than final, so I thought. Your choices are accept as is, accept with technical corrections, no more editor action, minor revision, editor reviews it again, reconsider after major revision, send to referees, or reject. Major revision probably means that you want to send it to referees again. Again, this should not be an obvious waste of referees' time. The revised manuscript should be understandable. The authors should have responded properly to referee comments. They may say why they disagree with referees. Original referees can say they are willing to see it again only if they recommend major revision. You may want to ask original referees anyway, whatever they recommended, especially if the manuscript has changed a lot. That can be easier and fairer than finding new referees, which might risk double jeopardy. There could be many iterations after the public discussion, editor asking for a revision, returning to referees, editor decision after second round referee comments, editor asking for more revisions, and so on. A lot of this is not popular with anyone, a reason for trying to stop poor manuscripts early before much wasted effort. Later round comments become public on final publication, not before. If a paper is published after much first round criticism and subsequent discussion, an editor comment may be appropriate. Better for referees not to feel ignored. Finally, some other comments on issues that arise. Sometimes referees have trouble putting their report on the system. You can forward their report to the editorial office. Make sure that the referee grades scientific significance, science quality, presentation quality, and that they recommend what should be the next step. Referees may ask for more time. You want to judge if you need their report. If authors ask for more time, I usually agree. The delay is a problem for them rather than OS. At the moment, extensions have to be requested with the editorial office. If the authors are slow, the system may automatically stop the review process. You will be told. I then usually ask the authors if that's what they intend. You can ask the Copernicus editorial person for the manuscript to restart the review process. Waivers, not paying all the article processing charges, page charges, are decisions for the executive editors. We have to work within a limit, 10%. Please refer all requests. If at any stage you're unsure what action you want, please ask myself or another executive editor as you think best. If you know what action you want, but are unsure how on the system, email editorial@Copernicus.org or the Copernicus person who is working with you on that manuscript. Thank you for your work for ocean science.